Hello and welcome along to this On the Whistle podcast special show. We do this every night, all day, every day. Joining me is a wonderfully strong, upfront, front three. No, we do not play like a Hugo Bruce team. We play like a Zayn Nabbi team, flying up the wings, taking our chances. You can't fire me. I ain't Ruben Amorim. I'm unstoppable. I'm like Cruyff meets Clive Barker meets
No, you Salah, Sadio Mane. I'm Bobby Firmino, yeah. Yes, the front three.
Francis Lorenz, so good to be doing the show with you. The quarterfinals are set. For those who saw me promoting the show, please know we'll be here for about 30 minutes. Fill the comments section up with your questions and your thoughts. We want you as a community to be round our bri. We're going to get lots of good stuff in there. Even though Ali's not sure, we'll hit the mailbag later. For those of you who've been with us, you know it becomes the good, the bad, and the Ali, because poor Ali has taken a lot of pot shots. There's been love for Lorenz and love for Francis, and I think I get called the South African guy.
And Ali's new nickname is the Nigerian
The
hater.
Nigerian.
The Nigerian hater and the Kenyan guy. That's his two nicknames.
Lorenz, I know you're under the weather, but you're fighting the good fight. So I'm going to start with you. But before I do, remember, please like, subscribe, comment, send hearts. The more love you give to this live, the more people can get their eyeballs on this, the more people will get around the bri. And that's what we love. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on X, whether you're on Riverside, just come into the chat. Let us know what you think. Hear from you. We've had our first comment. Can you believe it, Lorenz? We've had Sego de Remitza say, but why Hugo Bruce never invited Makanya, who got the height, physical, and he's comfortable on the ball? Wow, we wanted to talk about the quarterfinals today because they said. But Lorenz, do you want to give a 30-second answer on that?
Didn't watch him. Not following him. That's as simple as it is. He was one of the favorites to be MLS Defender of the Season. I think he was in the top 3. This is a guy that Steve Barker said is the next Lucas Radebe. So we don't know. But obviously he's going to have to cast his eyes on some other players after what he saw now. So Mbukazi going to America is obviously going to help in that regard, because you're going to call Mbukazi from America. You may as well pick Olwetu as well. But we're also hoping that he goes to a bigger club, potentially maybe to England or Germany within either this month or before the World Cup. So yeah, he's a top prospect, and we're very hopeful that he'll be in the national team very soon.
Listen, we aren't going to lampoon this with necessarily South Africa talk because we want to get into the quarterfinals. But of course, Sego, if you have any questions, even if it's related to Bafana, put it in. We'll try to get to it. My really quick question here, because we'll get into the AFCON in a minute. But is this not something that also plays to the fact, Lorenz, that Hugo Bruce just doesn't rate MLS soccer, so he doesn't feel the need to track it or take seriously the achievements in that league?
I think he was more disappointed at like how fatigued and jet lagged the players were. Like when they come, they arrive late in camp. They're not up to scratch in the training sessions. That's what he said. And also, I think obviously you're gonna have a little bit of an attitude as a human being, not as any. It doesn't matter who you are. If you travel 15 hours maybe from New York to Johannesburg, and then you sit on the bench, you know what I mean? Like,
Of course.
so you're not going to be in the best of moods, and you can't blame the players. And perhaps he just wanted to eliminate that factor of players sulking that just traveled all the way, not up to standard in training, and then doesn't even make it into the starting 11. But I think it's something that's probably it's not the be all and end all. Look at Tolo from Cameroon, captain of Cameroon, been playing in America for so long now, and he's doing the business for so long. I mean, he's captain of Cameroon now. So there's hope. It doesn't mean if you play in the MLS, you can't be an international footballer for an African nation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, listen, send the comments in, guys. Like, hearts, do everything you need to do. Let's get this going. We're going to start now, Lawrence, by talking about the quarterfinals. They're
Yeah,
set. Let's start today. Let's do it in a chronological order.
yeah,
We don't have to spend super long going through every one, but let's go over some of the key talking points. I got to tell you, the Algerian win against DR Congo, I thought that had pins written all over on it. The more it went, the longer it went. And I
for
was
sure.
feeling like my prediction was going to be true. But you
Me
know
too.
what, Lawrence? There's a
Me
reason.
too.
The,
I felt the way. I felt the same way as I was
it
watching.
felt like
It was going towards Congo's way.
Yeah. And the reason why you get paid the big bucks for this, Lawrence, and the reason why you're the specialist on this is because you get these right 8.5 out of 10 times. So obviously a banger of a goal to win it, something special
And
was needed from
what did
Algeria.
I say? I said, Congo were gonna be in it, and there's gonna be a late bang, not a banger. I just said a late goal, like
Yes.
from
Yes.
Algeria, and nobody's gonna talk about Congo again. It's just, wish I was a betting man.
No, and listen, what were your raw thoughts? I mean, the longer it went on, you got the feeling DR Congo could have won this, but
Yeah,
after that,
definitely. Like as we were watching the game, obviously I didn't attend the game because there was a bit of a issue with limited ticketing because there's a huge contingent of Congo and Algerian media.
mm,
And the stadium is quite small, so I didn't bother going. So I watched it on TV. But yeah, I thought Congo were really good, very disciplined as they usually are, but not enough risk taking. And I think that's the point I was trying to drive last night. Yeah, last night. There's not enough risk taking, not a gung ho approach when okay, they didn't need it. They didn't need a gung ho approach, but I'm saying like, oh, I'll, it just felt to me that they were trying to take the game towards, extra time and burn Algeria out, which never happened. It was quite, equal. But then I just thought like, they've been in the situation before now with, like you said, with Nigeria, and perhaps they would have had that psychological edge going into penalties. So I thought that's how it's gonna play out, and obviously Algeria decided, to put their foot on the pedal and scored a banger in what 2 minutes before 118th minute,
yeah, that's right.
um, which was probably essential, because like we both agreeing that it looked like it was heading to the leopards direction.
Absolutely. And look, I think Lawrence, just to bring it back to how this is all shaping up is that you now have Algeria make it through. They are going to be facing Nigeria in the knockouts.
Yeah.
I'll you can take this for Francis, who's just joined us back in. Like, would you think that this is arguably the tie of the quarterfinals? This is the one where all our eyeballs should be locked in because it's probably two very evenly matched teams.
Look, I mean, it's big boys all over. Like Senegal, Mali is a West African derby. Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, it's box office as well. Cameroon, Morocco, like there's a lot of Cameroonian people around you that thinks that they are going to be, and I quote, they will become the what, not the custodians, but what's the word when you take over somebody's home? Um, I can't remember the exact word they use, but they said they're taking over the Prince Mulay Abdallah Stadium for the
What,
rest
you're
of
annexing it?
they're gonna take over. Yeah, they're gonna take over the home turf
At
of
the
the
heirs.
yeah, basically. So, but to your question, Algeria won the AFCON in 2019,
Yes,
beating Nigeria,
Senegal.
beating Nigeria,
Sorry.
Nigeria,
Yes.
and I think also I read something that they also won it in 1980s. I think 1980 or something. and that was also beating Nigeria along the way. So I think, people always say, what about history? But history always managed to find a way to repeat itself. I think they've won three or four, is it not? Um, and they're looking really good. So Nigeria, on the other hand, has not been celebrating how great their victory was against Mozambique. All they're talking about is Victor Osimhen for the past 24 hours. So I don't know, like
Well,
it's
let's bring you in, Francis. I mean, maybe we'll get your take on Algeria and Nigeria, and you can tell us if the Cameroonians are indeed going to annex Morocco.
So it is.
Okay, I think we are having some trouble just connecting with Francis. So we will keep the chat going. Again, post your comments. We want to hear from you. We have Real Chaos 32 tell us. Told you about Diamande and Ahmed. You did indeed. Both getting onto the score sheet, looking really good. Thought they were really good. I mean, look, what we've seen in this round of 16 is there have been some mismatches. A
yeah,
perfect example tonight, a perfect example with the Super Eagles. But
yeah.
these teams are putting the goals in. They're showing the dominance. They're doing what has to be done against teams that are expected to win, and that can only be good signs, right, Lawrence?
Yeah. And it's the European based players that are stand up and being counted. And this is the favorable weather conditions. Maybe the AFCON being in the summer, the European based players are not able to play their usual games because
Mm,
it's become it's become difficult. Like they can't handle the searing heat and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a weird theory, but I think this could be one of the things that they're adapting to the weather better here in Morocco. Um, and the ones that are standing out, like this guy saying Diomande and Ahmed, they were expected to excel. Bazumane Toure as well, another 19-year-old winger, plays for Hoffenheim in Germany. He was also on the score sheet. So look, these big players, Osimhen, Lukman, they're all standing up and being counted when they
yes.
need it. Um, and like the teams that are better on paper are winning. And there's no need to go in depth of the tactics or anything like that. The ones that are expected to win are winning. But I need to applaud like MSFI as well.
Mm,
There's a lot of doubts. There's been a lot of doubts on Cote d'Ivoire, even after they win. I see people in the WhatsApp chat saying, Cote d'Ivoire, they're not going to get as far as they could. MSFI is not really that good. He played with 19-year-olds today. Like, that is
mm.
insane. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's got, this guy says, I'm looking like Mark Skinner. Um, they've got a good balance of youth and experience there. Um, but yeah, I think this quarterfinal, I know Ali said it yesterday that the AFCON really began, but this quarterfinal is really, really exciting. And I can't have this, blanket approach in saying the big boy is going to win. Who is the big boy? Who is the big boy between these two? They're all giants in their own right. So I'm super, super, super excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep spinning around like a carousel. Real chaos has given us another comment, suggesting Lawrence that the elephants are going to two-peat and
Mm.
Salah is going home. How do you feel about that one?
Oh, two Pete, look, I mean, I also expected, like, I just looked at the squad list in the start of the tournament and I said, wow, like, Ivory Coast looking really, really good. The players that they have, like, if you're leaving Simon Adingra at home, and, you know, it shows that you've got proper depth. I do think they have the capabilities of overcoming Egypt. But the two Pete, that's bold. That's really
Mm,
bold. I'm still sticking to Senegal or Morocco, as one of my favorites. But let's see, maybe Cameroon do shock them at home. But yeah, two beat. I think it's a bit too far for them. team is still, I think the team is still transforming.
Mhm.
They're still obviously putting in the performances, but I think maybe too much youth right now in this
Mhm.
team.
Well, this would have been the one we would have wanted Francis to get his take on, but Francis has had to drop off. For those listening, for those watching, I'll keep saying it. Post your comments here. We want to take them. We want to answer your questions. Keep feeding us, liking, sharing, doing all those good things so we can make this bride the biggest in African football. But when we look at Cameroon and Morocco, again, let's remember Morocco looked very, I don't call them lethargic, but they weren't quite domineering against Tanzania. Had to
Mm,
made to work hard. Maybe that's the best way to describe it
yeah,
for their victory there. But they did enough to go through. Cameroon absorbed a lot of pressure in the first 20 minutes or so
yeah,
against Bafana and were clinical. What was it? Two of the three chances they got sticking it in. So again, Cameroon coming in on a high. The Himalaya is back. The confidence is there. But this is Morocco. This is their tournament. You just said they're one of the favorites. I'm guessing, Lorenz, you feel like this is a time that Cameroon run up against a real big team and probably come second best.
Look, I mean, I'm just reading some of the comments on my own thing here now, and they're saying 7 winners of AFCON with the last 6 winners since 2010. Mali has the wild card for all the other nations, including the starless. Um, Somebody also said only West and North African nations left. Interesting, you know. But yeah, as you're saying, Morocco, look, they're gonna have to pull out another like a performance that they pulled out against Tanzania, against Cameroon, because Cameroon is super physical. I think obviously you guys have addressed it like a couple of times. Um, and because of this factor of like them not having a Samuel Eto'o,
Mm,
having a Rigobe song, or them having a, I know, Jeremy and Gita or whatever in the midfield. There's like less pressure on them. There's not even an expectation from the fans to say, like, yeah, we're gonna win this. You know what I mean? They're all just like enjoying the ride. You know what I mean? The coach, um, he knows why he's the head coach, because the Cameroonian FA can't afford like a glamorous coach like Hervé Renard, who they wanted at one point.
mm-hmm.
Um, so it's just the coach, the players, the young players enjoying the ride. If you looked at, let me just pull it up for you to check.
No problem.
Cam-
While you're doing that, Real Chaos asked a question. What's Benny McCarthy doing these days, by the way? Coaching Kenya the last time I checked.
yeah, so look, this squad, the 22-year-old, 26-year-old in defense, Tolu is 28, the captain. Baleba 22, Avam 21, Jomedo 22, Kofane 19, Namaso 25, Yongwa 25, Mbemo 26. This is like a team that can play together for another 3, if not 4 AFCONs. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, where Morocco, we all know what Morocco is. It's like this. We've spoken about it so much. This need that this is the year. Like, it doesn't matter if they win in the next. If this is the one that they want, you know what I mean. So that could be like, besides the quality that both teams have at their disposal, one coach is under pressure, the other one is like, whatever you do, it's good. If you win the AFCON, great. But the other one is like, even if you win the AFCON, you could be fired. You know what I mean? So the amount of pressure, or the level of pressure between the two sides is like
Yes.
chalk and cheese, which does always play a role. It does play a role in these crunch games.
Well, listen, lots to look forward to, lots and lots in the semifinals. Um, as I was explaining to Real Chaos, Benny is still coaching Kenya, unless something's happened and I'm unaware of that. He's with the Harambee Stars, um, hoping they can have some short term success there before returning to coach in Europe. I think that would be his goal. Of course, Lawrence, we know there's the Bafana job that will be vacant post World Cup. Um, who do you think would come into the mix for that? If I can go off piste for a minute, do you think Benny would come into the mix for that? Pizza Masamani, Rulani Mokwena, Gavin Hunt. Who do you think?
I think the pizza to Sundowns thing is getting real steam now, so I'll put that one off the table. Bruce has put Hellman's name forward, and I don't know, like
Helman and
how.
Kalele.
Yeah, I don't know how that will be received. Look, the Sabre name has been bandied about for the past
Mm,
few months now, few weeks. But then there's also wild cards like Jose Rivero is a clubless
mm,
Al Ahly. Even Abdeslam Wadu, he's made a real impression at Pirates. Obviously, a former Moroccan defender. He played at the highest levels, got good, pedigree in terms of his coaching qualifications, and his style of football at Pirates has been really impressive. So there's a couple of names that I don't think that they'll go for the approach of, oh, this guy's super experienced, of like, let's get Kevin Hunt or or Pizzo. I saw some fan even say, like, if we go back to Pizzo, it's like recycling coaches. Like the era of like Sheikhs Mashaba and whatever. I found that a bit funny to I can't believe somebody is being pizza is being compared to Sheikhs. But I kind of got the point to say, like, you know, you could go there and you could go to pizza and it would be a success, or you can go and it won't be, and then be like kind of like, in that circle again. We're back to square one, you know what I mean? So I'd like to see somebody new, with a different approach. Somebody like Jose, I don't know why I'd pick him, but like I just think that he knows South African football, in and out. He's very good with youth, and I feel like because we are so understaffed at Safa, like it needs somebody that can be hands on in with many factors, like from the first team to the under 23s, that's non-existent, under 20s, and what have you. And he's got the experience for that as a former academy coach of Salto Vigo. So yeah, we're digressing, but let's get back into the
let's bring
quarter.
it back. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Lawrence, we've had Real Chaos 32 say Cameroon could have been legit world beaters if they had Mbappe, Kounde, and the rest to clear for them. Or is that too far? What do you think?
Kunde is from Benin, actually. But Mbappe, look, these guys, they have heritage of Cameroon or whatever, but they born in France. I mean, they lived in France their whole life. And I don't think generational talent like Mbappe would wake up one day as a 16-year-old and say, I'm going to go play for Cameroon, my dad's or my mom's nation, and leave France where I can win the World Cup at 21 years old. Like it doesn't work like that. And we see the disarray that the Cameroonian Football Association is in. So like look, if it's not impossible, and Morocco have shown it. If you get your house in order, if you have the great facilities, if you are super professional, you can attract the best players from anywhere around the world. Like they've got the Brahim Diaz. Just go look at some of the players that's playing in under 20, under 23s. Guys are playing for Ajax, Anderlecht, top Bayern Munich, like best, some of the best academies in the world, and they're getting him into the system quite young. Where the others, you'd be like, oh, he's playing now for this team. Let's call him. They had no interest in developing them in the youth teams. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a come on. This is fantasy that he's thinking about of Mbappe and Mbuemo in a 4-4-2. Mbuemo, we understand why he plays for Cameroon, because he was not an he was not an elite young player like Mbappe was. He was a decent young talent that was developed over the last few years, made the right club moves, and he flourished at Brentford, and many players can do that. So it's a very different situation between these two.
Ziyech and Hakimi?
Yeah, look, Hakimi and Brahim Diaz is the same. Like they were approached at a young age, and they both said, "I want to play for Morocco." End of. You know what I mean? And they both could have played for Spain. You know, the Spanish national team coach even literally said, "We phoned Brahim and asked him, would you like to join us for the national team?" And he had informed them, like, no, like I have opted to play for Morocco. And that's because they're selling them a project. like a club football team. You're coming into this world class facilities of the association, and you are being told we want to dominate world football. That is the message that they're putting towards these players, and everybody wants to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Look, I mean, Spain can also offer you that, but I think if you have like that heritage, that cultural thing of like I feel Moroccan and I want to help this project, then it's a different pool, if you get what I mean.
Sure. Definitely does. Well,
Mm,
listen, we have gone all over the shop. Let's bring it back to talking about the quarterfinals. The one we haven't touched on is Mali Senegal. Is
yeah.
this arguably the one with the least hype? Senegal to beat Mali. It's probably Mali are difficult. They're physical, but maybe of the semis, this is probably the biggest mismatch.
Yeah, I would think so. But Tom Sanfit is obviously a well-drilled team. They can run for 120 minutes and beyond. They could probably run for 220 minutes the way we've seen them. Um, and like, as much as there's no shocks, wouldn't it be a good time to see a shock now?
Mm,
Like you can't go through an entire AFCON without one giant killer, you know what I mean? So look, Mali are well capable of achieving that. They've got good players. They're not like a Cape Verde, or they actually have really good players. Cape Verde is just playing out of their skin over the last few years, and not don't really have world beaters playing at a very good level. Where Mali has a couple of good players like Yves Bessouma, they've
hmm
got Dumbia, they've got Sinayoko, they've got a good team. They've got Jigu Diarra, goalkeeper. So yeah, but I still think Senegal will have enough, but it will be a close one. I think there may be a 2-1 victory to Senegal. If I had to put my head on the block.
Well, listen, as we wind up the pod, we're going to go to our predictions. I'm sure you can see that all coming on screen, but real chaos is causing chaos with this one. Is Algeria losing 4-0 or 5-0? Well, let me go first, and you can tag team with me, Lawrence. Quarterfinal one, I think Senegal put Mali away. I think I see them going through.
Yeah,
Quarterfinal two, I'm going to say Morocco. I'm going to say Morocco are going to put the hosts out. Why am I saying that? I just think that Morocco have
Cameroon's gonna knock out Morocco.
yes.
You said Morocco is gonna win, but anyway,
Did I say Morocco is going to win?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay, let me. Cameroon is going to knock out Morocco.
Yes,
Now that might surprise some people because the Morocco are the host, but I do think Ali was on something when he said the pressure is getting to them. Yes, they're well drilled. Yes, there's a fantastic system. Um, I do think, some of the discontent around Walid Regragui, and
mhm.
how this team is going is going to see their demise. And I just think Cameroon have one more big game in them. I think South Africa was the start, and I think they could go out, and I think they could put Morocco away. They've got the
Believe
attacking prowess to do it.
there's
Um,
belief togetherness there in that Cameroon squad now.
yeah, yeah. I'll run through my other two, and then I'd love to hear what you have to say, Lawrence, and of course the audience out there. I'm going to go the Super Eagles to take Algeria out. I think Algeria, I think, haven't conceded a goal all tournament. Zidane in goals hasn't conceded one yet. They're looking really defensively strong, but I think against a team like Nigeria with Lookman and Osman looking fantastic, powerful midfield with Onyeka, with Iwobi, Bassi in defense. Yes, Nobali in my eyes is a liability, but I think Nigeria will come through there. I think they've got that. And then for Egypt, Ivory Coast, oh, this is probably for me the closest, but I'm going to go Ivory Coast. I think they're going to come, and unfortunately, Masala's going to have a dream deferred by 2 years. Lawrence, what's your predictions?
You have eliminated every single North African team in the quarterfinals in North Africa. That is bold.
I also said Mozambique we're going to eliminate Nigeria.
Fair enough. So
And
basically, you're predicting four West African teams in the semifinals.
yeah, Go on, give me your steer. Give me your read. It's bold. It's bold. It's bold.
That would be crazy.
Go on.
I mean, you make a good point. Like I can see all the things that you're saying happening as well, but I just think, okay, put my head on the block. Senegal, definitely they'll beat Mali. I think.
Yep. So we're in
I,
agreement there.
yeah, I think Egypt is very difficult. I think Cote d'Ivoire will beat Egypt. Yes, I think Egypt has been pushing a little bit above their weight in this tournament, even though they've got the
I mean,
pedigree.
Benin. I mean, it took that final goal to give them some breathing room against Benin, right?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, they'll play a different type of game than they played against Benin. I think they're going to invite Cote d'Ivoire to attack them because on paper, I think Cote d'Ivoire are quite stronger. They've got players at a higher level. Um, and yeah, but I just can't see four West African teams. So something's got to give, whether it's Algeria or whether it's Morocco getting into the last four as well. So I'm gonna go for Algeria simply because I feel like you can't. It's a weird. It's a lame excuse to say, but you can't have a North African AFCON without North African teams. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
one or two of them are gonna find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether by a late penalty or like one of them are gonna find a way. And I think Algeria and Morocco are the ones that will go through with Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire. Sorry, Henry, I meant a Central African, but when the chat comes about, people also consider them as part of the West. I don't know why. Like, I know they're part of Central Africa with.
I think they also can be considered part of the West. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
let's save that geographical debate for another day. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then I guess you're seeing Morocco then putting Cameroon out. Is that right?
Yeah, I just feel like the North Africans are gonna find a way. They're gonna have to dig deep as well. Because look, you can always have that approach to say Morocco haven't been convincing, but
They've won.
they've won, and two, put a big team in front of them and see how they react because these are big players that
Mm, mhm,
you know what I
mhm.
mean. So let's see what happens when you put a big team that is not defending with 10 players behind the ball. You know what I mean? Potentially, this is where during this break of between the last six in the quarterfinals, they're gonna have a good look at each other. They're gonna spend some time together and say, like, guys, like we need to step things up. You know, it's not like they're sitting around and saying, yeah, they obviously having these hard conversations as a technical team. And as like really talented players, they'll have the ability to say, you know what, we need to step it up against Cameroon, or there'll be chaos for sure. There will be chaos in that stadium.
Well, listen, you've heard it from the blonde bomber. That Zayn, you cannot pick four sub-Saharan. Let's play it safe. African teams to make it through to the semis, and that is conventional wisdom, and that is where I'm sure the smart money is. Right, Algeria and Nigeria. What a pity in some ways that they're
Mm,
meeting at the stage of the competition. Both have been the form teams, but yeah, defensively sound
yeah,
defensively sound, very difficult to get through. And what they've shown tonight is that, yes, Mares is obviously a star and the man they rely on, but that banger did not come from him. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? That moment of brilliance that was needed when the game was coming to a crucial point and was on a knife edge was decided by somebody other than Riyad Mahrez. And I think that speaks volume to the talent and the team. So, I can totally see Algeria winning. I can also see Egypt winning. Like I can see them winning and Morocco. But
yeah. Look, Algeria as well. Like just to put in there, the thing that I think is one of their strengths that's being overlooked is their continuity in their
yes,
squad. If you look at the central defense, they've got Mandi, 34 years old. He was there back in 2019. You've got You've got Mahrez who was there 2019, and you've got Buneja that was there in 2019. From the AFCON winning squad. You've got Benassa, Budawi, who've been there for many, many years. You've got Ben Sabaini that's been there for many years. Ait Nouri is obviously is a newer, but he's a solid, like one of the best left backs in the world. And then you've got like a new player like Matza as well, who is looking like he's gonna be, one of the top players of African football in years to come. He's 20 years old playing for Leverkusen. And Amura. Let me just bring up this stat for you about Amura.
Sure.
Like, uh, is a player that perhaps is only, how can I say, appreciated in Algerian circles and in Germany and Belgium where he played. But not many people talk about him like outside, like in South Africa. I could post him now and people would be like, who's this guy? You know what I mean?
Mm,
But his record, like now for Algeria, he's got, Jesus, like that was actually something silly. Like, overall in 2026, 10 games, 10 goals, 4 assists. She's got 14 goal contributions in 10 games in 2020, well, 2025, 2026. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So for me, that's ridiculous. So that shows you that they've got a good core and a good 11 that potentially could win this title.
Listen, we're going to bring the pod to an end in the next minute or two. But thank you so much for all your comments. And Lawrence, thank you so much for all your analysis. I know you're battling some illness, but we're going to hit the mailbag to get to some of the comments that came in yesterday. It's affectionately known as our good, bad, and alley. So why do we call it the good, the bad, and the alley? It's because we want to hear the good from you. We want to hear the bad. And for some reason, poor Ali, poor Ali, has taken a lot of heat from the Nigerian fans who just think, you know, he's enemy number one in many ways. And I feel sorry for the kid because he's not. And he's not South African, but it's good. It's good. We're going to read out some of those comments now. So we had one from Tierform 5730 who said, the South African guy and the Cameroonian are class. Top analysts. Nice love aimed at you, Lawrence and Francis, who was here for the start of the show. We had Rodney 2025 underscore 2025 say, great to be here again. Rodney, we always love having you here. We had Alex B543 said, please add timestamps next time. You're right. We should do that. We should definitely do that. Love the feedback. Keep it coming. We had Low Sisu say, and before they said this, we had 3 smiley face emojis saying, understatement of the century, word of advice, never underestimate Nigerian Super Eagles. The whole of Africa knows. We had a light Chub 7677 say, I also love the fighting spirit in the Niger team and the hunger too. And then the final comment I'll read out, Lawrence, was aimed at me, and it was from Al Tales from the Motherland. Lol, you predicted a Mozambican win, as we say in Nigeria, our market.
You deserve that for predicting that one.
Listen, real chaos. You've been absolutely outstanding. You've also said that you think Mali upset Senegal. So for the last question, I'm going to come to you, Lawrence. He has said that Mendy is a bozo keeper. Do you agree? Are you on the fence? Do you disagree?
I've seen worse. I've seen no, he's a. I mean, you don't play at that level if you're a complete bozo. Maybe as bozo moments, maybe as lapses of concentration, but at the end of the day, he's some player who played at Chelsea. If I'm not mistaken, he won the Champions League. If I'm not,
Yeah, and he was, I think he won as a Golden Glove, or he won the FIFA Best Award for
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
Yashin Prize. Is that right?
yeah. You don't get to that level if you
Agreed.
a complete bozo. But yeah, look, I mean, Zayn is getting harder and harder to predict these ones, even though everything has been in inverted commas predictable. But yeah, I think it's getting really exciting now. The only thing that I'm not excited about is that I'm starting to see the fixture list of other CAF competitions, and it's literally starting when I arrive home.
You
It's
talking
actually
CAF Champions League? You talking about the Confederations Cup?
confident, and yeah, it's relentless. Like, I think on the 20th, the day I'm supposed to leave, Chiefs is playing a game in the domestic league.
Isn't it good the South African team is home then?
Yeah, so they're playing a game on the 20th, and then I think they're playing Zesco United on the 24th or something like that. This is crazy.
It
Uh,
is
uh,
crazy.
all the players who are competing in both of these competitions, even the ones that's going back to Europe, like you
Agreed.
guys,
Agreed.
you guys are insane.
And there's a
Um,
World Cup.
yeah, exactly. It's like, when are you going to spend time with your family, your kids, and your friends? Like, these things need to be relooked at. You can't just say, "Oh, these guys are professional footballers." Like, they're human beings as well, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair on anyone, like, to be playing football non-stop for more than 12, 15,
Mm.
18 months. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, the World Cup, expanded World Cup. So yeah, just that was my final parting shot, because
No,
I
no.
feel I feel tired for them.
Yes, you're a man who's been on the road yourself, and I'm sure you know as a journalist what that takes. So imagine what the players are going through.
For
Lawrence,
sure.
I'm going to let you rest up. You've been an absolute trooper, standing up through all the issues and coming live with us. It's fantastic. Hang in there, get better. The knockouts are incredibly exciting. I'm sure you're going to love the quarters. And
Yeah.
before you know it, that final would have happened, and you'll be on that flight back to South Africa where there won't be rain. It'll just be hot. It'll just be beautiful. And there'll be lots of CAF Confederation Cup and Champions League and Premier Soccer League and Nedbank Cup and
Yeah.
ABSA Cup and everything in between to cover.
Yeah. Look, my final word is, like, as much as, like, I want to get home as soon as possible, I've really been impressed by Morocco.
Yeah, go
Their
on.
hospitality, their infrastructure, competitive currency. Like, competitive is the wrong word, but like how good the currency is to me. Like
Bring
when I
you
went,
value for
you know,
money.
yeah, when I went to Italy and I used to swipe my card, I was like, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like, and I'll definitely recommend people coming here for a vacation. Honestly, it's Marrakesh is beautiful. Casablanca, it's got rich history. Obviously, Agadir. If you're a family man,
Oh,
you
yes,
want
I am. I am.
your family man, you want to take your family out to a beach area where you can stay on the beach in a chalet overlooking. It's got Agadir is amazing. So yeah, I'll definitely be back. And for people potentially on the fence, maybe they want to support Sundowns when they're playing Wydad. I'm just making an example, not that they're gonna. Maybe when they want to go for a summer vacation when we in winter. Maybe when there's the 2030 World Cup. Like, honestly, guys, it's a nice place to be, and value for money, definitely.
Listen, take your advice. You've been traveling around. If you're saying it's good to visit, then we've got to come and visit. It sounds
Yeah,
amazing. Lawrence, really appreciate you. And for those out there, like, subscribe, share, leave your comments. We'll go to the mailbag. We'll bring it into the shows later this week. And of course, follow us on social, OTW_podcast on X, Instagram, and TikTok, or search for the On the Whistle podcast on YouTube or Facebook. We'll leave it here, Lawrence. Go get warm. Go rest up. Appreciate you being live. All the best, my friend.
cheers, cheers, cheers.